startup ecosystem, what the idea is that you have to learn how to pitch your idea clearly and concisely. And once you learn how to do that, then you can bring in all the stakeholders and you can get into programs that'll help you and train you on how to build it. But that first step is you have to design a business model that is desirable.
When I initially moved back to Pensacola, I had a meeting with Lloyd. Lloyd invited me for breakfast and I was telling him, man, I still have an idea for the entertainment industry. This is what I wanted to do. He was like, all right, I got Startup on the Blocks. So I need you to start coming to Startup on the Blocks and get a little more information on how to work through the tech ecosystem and take your idea and we'll get you where you need to go. My company is called The Know, is an app that is streamlining business for the entertainment industry. Yeah, so if you're a musician, what you would do is pretty much jump on the platform, you'll create a profile, but the way we created the profile is pretty much a cleaner way. So now if they want more information about you, you'll connect your social media platforms, your streaming platforms, and that way they can go directly to it. What we also have included is your calendar. So pretty much you can set your days, you can set your price for your days and automate your booking. So initially talking to Lloyd, my idea was all here, it was there, it was over here, it was over there. It was like, all right, Quinn, I get it. You got a lot that you want to do, but we need you to bring it in just a little bit and then work on your pitch, your story, and how you're going to bring it full circle to get people to understand what you're trying to create.
Most of the programs here wasn't inclusive, and so we said we'll focus on helping founders of color. We also start at the beginning of the thing, at the idea stage, whereas a lot of the programs you see here locally, they start after you're up, and that's not very efficient unless if you don't have a lot of money, you can't recover from your mistakes. And the lean startup system, it actually helps you make mistakes faster before you spend a lot of money. You don't actually start building anything until you got customer buy-in.
There was a need for small businesses to bring brand awareness to their business. I see there's a lot of makers and bakers that they're making all of these goodies and these products, but they can't market it, they can't sell it at the same time, and there needs to be kind of like that middleman, that middle person to help bring economic growth to some of the small businesses in Pensacola. So Taste of Pensacola, I came up with that idea during the pandemic when I saw things at that time that Amazon couldn't fulfill. They didn't even have those products, but the local people in the community, they did. And so there was a ton of people coming out saying, hey, I make masks. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. All the local people here that are just as talented that can actually make those products. And so I wanted to kind of showcase who they were. So with Taste of Pensacola, our income streams, we have several of them. We have the corporate America. We do corporate gifting, just regular consumers, different Pensacola natives that don't live here that want to purchase our boxes, like a taste of weddings, distribution. So we also do bulk sales. So for a private airline, if they want some local snacks and goodies on their passenger flights, they will come to Taste of Pensacola and we will source their vendors here locally. And we'll give a small business owner an opportunity to have reoccurring monthly sales. I've always had a really big vision for Taste of Pensacola. I knew that it could go beyond just local. I know that maybe other communities could possibly use the same platform that I'm trying to build. And I always have these big visions, but I never know how to even get there. Where do I start? I know it's more than, there's a lot of technical things behind it. I know there's a lot of research, but that connection, I never had it until, thankfully, I met and was introduced to Startups on the Blocks and was able to just learn more about how to grow it in terms of data. Things I just never thought about, framework, words like traction. There's a lot of things that I just did not know about and language that I need to know in order to get funding for my business. There's just a lot that I didn't know.
I would go to the stores and look online. They didn't have a wide variety of natural hair products about 8 years ago. And the ones that they did have, the ingredients, it would say that they were all natural. And when I would research the ingredients, a lot of the ingredients were not natural. I make everything, my shampoo, conditioner, I have an oil that I make, and I have 2 different separate butters. Like I had some people who were completely bald and grew their hair. It's about giving women their confidence back in their hair. I have this salon and then I have a second salon, and I have my products in about 5 beauty supply stores. So I need a manufacturer to keep up with the demand at this point. Startup on the Blocks has helped my business grow, send me to different people. I'm able to do different pitch competitions to apply for grants in the community for small businesses. Lloyd's a really good person to connect with. He has a lot of resources here in the community that can help small businesses grow. If you have a product out there and you're trying to go big time, he's the person that you would want to meet with.
So it's really important to have some type of support because 9 times out of 10, most founders start out on their own. And to have somebody that has an idea of how the ecosystem works and is able to tap into other resources and bring back to the community, and that pretty much has encountered some of the roadblocks or going through the same roadblocks that we're currently going through and understands where you're at, your culture and how you respond to things, is a big help because you don't really have too many people that have access to what we have access to here in the community. And a lot of people believe that you have to leave and go to bigger cities to do the things that we're doing here. But I mean, it's one thing to have exposure, but you have to actually know it's here in the community in order to take advantage of the resources. So I get approached and I talk to friends all the time that wants to either start an idea or hear that I'm actually doing the app and wants to know more information about how are you doing it or what's the process, what's the path. I'm like, man, we have somebody here, Startup on the Blocks, Lloyd Richard. And Lloyd is here, he's a great resource to the community and to founders that's trying to learn the ecosystem. So join Startup on the Blocks.
Yes, how are you, Sabrina? You doing good, Sabrina? We're on, Sabrina.
Hi,
Okay.
I'm good. How are you?
Yes, I'm doing
How are
good.
you?
Doing good. Doing good as
Yeah, can you see me?
I see you. You're looking good. Yeah, and I'm happy to have you back on as one of the founders there in Pensacola, and
Feeling good?
yeah, doing good. Yeah, and so so what we're going to do tonight? We're going to get caught up a little bit on your journey. See, you made a bunch of progress, and so we want to hear and learn about that. And but I want to get my screen shared here and give a little shout out to our sponsors. Yeah, and I have some exciting stuff to. We had some fun in the networking, so that was great. Yeah. Oh, I don't want to share. I want to do a slideshow here. Yes. Sabrina, you put. I think you participated in some of the Blacks in
Oh, you
Technology.
heard it? I'm not sure anything.
Say that again, Sabrina.
Yep. No, I said I'm just here listening. Yes, Blacks in Technology. We went to the convention, the
Yeah.
conference.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And what I was bringing up was I think you in one of the cohorts we have at the Blacks in Technology Foundation, you actually participated and helped out one of the founders there, right? I remember right. I may be remembering wrong. Yes, but also we have this. We're partnered with this company.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're partnered with this company called Startup Science, which that we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. We're partnered with this company called Coda, Make Startups, Pitch Bob, and Lean Stack. So these are most, like you can tell, most of our partner organization, Black Innovation, Leaders of Florida. And matter of fact, I'm in Boston right now to the Black Innovation Alliance Sustainability Summit, and it's been totally powerful. We've been learning a lot the last couple of days, and Detroit has a facility called New Lab, and it's like a 4-story building that's dedicated to startups. And Goody Nation, our nonprofit, is a member of that as well, and it's it's good. It's great. It's all about founders being accountable and supporting each other. And these are some of our money folks that help us providing support for founders. So there's quite a few of them. Just a big shout out to all of them. And who is this young lady right here? If you would go ahead and say a couple of words to introduce yourself.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I hope you can hear me well.
Yes, we can hear you.
So, as you said, I've been part of startups on the blocks for a couple of years now. About Pi and my idea. And just recently, over the last month, we actually launched the software, the tool, and I, like most startups, it was born out of frustration that I was feeling in my own small business with understanding my business financing and realizing that this was something that most business owners struggle with, and also bookkeepers struggle with their clients being knowledgeable on that. So I thought it was great to come up with a tool that can help simplify it. And of course, with the work that you provide, the mentorship that you provide through Kakua and Startup on the Blocks and the cohorts, is taking a while, which sometimes it does, because we start out with one idea and then over time it manifests into something else on the block. So I'm excited to talk tonight about my journey, and also to show others that, don't let your idea just fall because you don't think that you have support, because there is tons of things out there to help so many people take their idea from to launch.
Fantastic. I appreciate you sharing that. And sounds like you may have a little lag. So I'm going to talk for a few minutes and show some slides, but double check your internet speed to make sure you got some good internet speed. And if anybody else in the house is on the internet, tell them to get off. I'm kidding, but yeah, every now and then it lags a little bit, but when you get started, it comes to clearly and everything. All righty, so I'm going to continue with a few slides, and then we'll get into catching up with you. All righty, so let's keep going here. So we have a great opportunity right now for Black founders, and you all can participate in this 30-day thing we have coming up, that you can stress test your business idea, and it's just really going to be fantastic. Over the years on teaching this business model design course, it's we've been learning a lot from the founders, and so what we want to do here is take founders through this process, and I'll explain it in a little bit more detail. But if you're interested in participating in this cohort that's starting on Monday, this is you just have to go to apply.kakuainstitute.org. Even if you've already been in the program before, you can if you need a refresher, you can kind of go through it. But basically, here are the details. We switched the deadline for applying for tomorrow, and it's, if you want to participate, yeah, you can participate. There's no screening, but the good news, if you're in Florida, at the end of the thing, we're going to have a demo day, a pitch contest, where we're going to select 10 of the founders that participated in the program that are from Florida, and 3 of those founders are going to walk away with $1,000 in 30 days. Can you use $1,000 for your business? Yeah, so that's so who. What do you think, Sabrina? Can you use an additional $1,000 for your business? I think there's kind of a little delay there, but let me just keep going on here a second. And so yeah, we do we have this startup.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think we still got a little delay for some reason. It may be on my end, for all I know, to be honest with you, because I'm in a hotel room. I maybe need to check my my internet connection, and I thought it was good earlier. But anyway, I'll keep talking. Yeah, so we work with founders, teaching them the best practices for building a startup. And that may sound kind of vague or whatever, but like when you're working on a business idea, or if you have a business idea, and you want to get help with that business idea, there is help out there, but you have to.
Gotta love technology.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, yeah, so it looks like my internet connection is a little slow, but it may be a little lagging. But the main thing for this program that we're doing is startups have to understand the milestones that a startup actually goes through. So I don't care if you're a small business owner, a nonprofit, or but depending on which track you are, there are different things you have to do. But the thing that's common to all of them is learning how to talk about your business model. So the people that you're trying to get help from will understand what you're trying to do. You're pitching your business model, not your product or service, because you're trying to get help. And that's what this last thing is, talking about entrepreneur support organization. So like, for example, Kakura Institute is an entrepreneur support organization, and we need help with what we're trying to do. So I'm up here at this Black Innovation Alliance Sustainability Conference. They're literally teaching us how to have a sustainable organization and providing resources for us to move forward. And as a matter of fact, they just finished giving away $2 million to the members. That's a lot of money. Yeah. And so these are the platforms that we actually use to work with the founders. And each one of them has its own unique thing. The Lean Stack, the main thing there is taking you through all your startup milestones. And so that's what's good about that. And the Startup Science one, that's helping you understand how to operate your business and get it ready for an exit to sell. Co-founder OS, when you're filling out a pitch application, a grant application, and they ask you to explain your business, it teaches you, it tests you on how well you explain your business and give you feedback on how to explain it more thoroughly. And to me, that's one of the number one challenges that founders have is when they fill out an application, they write a couple lines to answer the question, but they're not answering it thoroughly, so they don't get the benefit, the program, the grant, or whatever. So that helps you understand how to do a complete answer. And Lean Stack helps you with that as well. And startups, they all develop IP, and that's why we have this IP Launchpad. We're partnered with the Black Innovation Leaders of Florida for that. And you can sign up on the Get Started pages, look for patent hacks, and you get access to a learning center for patents. And then you get these AI agents where you can ask questions about the patent and trademark process. And we also created a little podcast to help you understand some of that stuff as well. Yep. So we expanded a little bit since you've been in the program, Sabrina.
Yep.
Yeah. That's exactly right. And the biggest thing since you've been in the program, we've added a lot more AI to help the founders. And so like in the networking that you hopped in for a little bit there, Carlos, one of our founders, he's pretty much knows how to describe what he wants his app to be, but he just never moved forward with his app. So, but in the networking, in just a few minutes, we actually created a MVP for him but it still requires a little bit more work. But we use one of the vibe coding tools, Adaptive.ai, and it literally, well, in essence, what we did, Sabrina, you missed that part. We took his, that business idea prompt that we use with the founders, and it actually goes through all the deliverables for the Lean Stack program, and then we took that and asked ChatGPT to create a product document, and then we upload that product requirements document to. So based on his business model, we asked ChatGPT to create a product requirements document, which is a software thing that describes what your MVP is all about. And then we took that document up to Adaptive.ai,
right?
And we asked it to create a web application based on that document and use his logo for brand coloring. and it took about 4 or 5 minutes, but it popped out the application. And Adaptive.ai, it automatically fixes the application it runs it in the background and keep working on it. So it's a pretty neat tool. All right. And so we were talking earlier about
Yeah, which is why it's been.
Go ahead, Sabrina.
Oh no, I was just saying, like with the whole no code using AI, it has made it more easier. I mean, easier for non-tech founders to just kind of have their idea in a visual sense. Like building your MVP becomes a lot less expensive, a lot more doable, and you can start to visualize what it would look like, and go from there. So
Yes,
yeah, it's AI has, I think, has been such a game changer for so many people.
that's correct. All right, fantastic. So this particular chart I have up here, and for you new founders, it's just the startup commons. It's like a worldwide thing that helps you understand, the phases, development phases a startup goes through, and that's the purpose of this chart. And so the reason why I show it, because it, like number one over here is kind of where you launch your product. And so, but there's a lot of things that happen before that. But as a startup founder, you get help, like here, it's -2 thing, and you get help all the way through all of these phases. And that's a hard thing for people to understand. But if you understand it, if you start understanding it, you realize you can get money at each one of those stages. You can get the programs for founders at each one of those stages, from -2 all the way to number 3. And the next thing from our startup science program, and you really want to get access to the startup science, because it takes you operationally through from a vision to an exit. So Sabrina, you're in this product launch phase, and you're going to market. And so what the deal is, so it helps you understand what happens in each phase and how to get to the next phase. But the beauty of this particular platform, it has all these lessons, but it also has tools that you can use in each stage. But it also has a list of pitch competitions. It also has a list of grants of people that write grants. It's just got so much stuff. It's also got a bunch of free and kind stuff in it. So it's kind of to me, it's kind of no brainer to kind of participate in this. But if you go to our Get Started page, click the startup on the block stain, and you can fill out the form and you can get access to that. So for what we're starting next week is going through this lean stack thing. And so Sabrina, this is kind of, it's a traction curve, but it's also kind of like you can overlay a profit curve on here. And what I like to help people understand is, in the startup world, you're actually in the red all the way till you start seeing growth on this thing. And so the question becomes, how do you get help to go from this from nothing to this thing where you're onboarding customers? And so that's what the whole purpose of learning how to do business model design, the stuff here in the gold, and then learning how to sell your product here in the orange, and then learning how to grow it in the blue here. That's what this chart is basically showing you. And Sabrina, this is the chart that sort of explains the whole process of that chart before and what we do in the program. So you see all these lean canvases. This is a one-page business plan. And as you go from right to left, you start off with your big idea canvas, getting everything out of your head, but then you split it up into all your different customer segments. So Sabrina, could you explain the customer segments that you have?
Yeah, so there's a couple of, so one being bookkeepers, professionals that help small businesses, coaches, that sort of thing. Then the other segment is small businesses, which is actually divvied up into a couple of different segments.
Okay.
One being small business owners, one being small business owners who are already using some type of accounting software but may not have like a bookkeeper or an accountant, and they still have some confusion when it comes to using it because they're trying to do it themselves. And then the
Hmm.
other one is around the 40% of business owners who don't use any type of accounting software. They either are using spreadsheets, pen and paper, or just are not tracking it altogether. So when I'm looking at the different messaging for Pi, it is targeted towards each of those different customer segments because they each will need a different type of messaging in order
Yeah.
for them to understand how Pi helps them. Yeah.
Right. So this is an example for 5 customer segments, or it could be a different variation of your product. Yeah, so that's kind of what you're looking at here. And then you come over here. This is where you do the stress testing. So I don't know if you remember, you would create a why now elevator pitch where you look at your customer segment. So each one of these things is a lean canvas for each of the different customer segments. And the first stress test, you want to identify the customer segment, the problem that customer segment is having, and what they're currently using, and then what value you're bringing to them. And so that's what this desirability stress test. And so if you
Mhm.
notice this block here, which is the solution block, you don't even mention your solution in your wide now elevator pitch. I don't know if
Mhm.
you noticed that when you were going through the program, but that's, to me, that's pretty interesting. You only interested in the customer segment, what problem that customer segment has, and what are they currently using, and if and what if they use your solution, what value is a unique value proposition it's going to give them. So, for your bookkeepers or accountants, what is your value proposition for them? You mentioned it, but what?
Well, yeah, so for them, it's saving time because even though they're doing the books for their clients each month, they still are inundated with questions. They're having
Yeah,
to come up with special reports and things like that in order to help their client. So it is their pain is like doing double work. They've done the books, but now they have to explain a bunch of things to a client because a lot of time that those reports are not geared toward, they're more financial jargon than a everyday small business owner will understand. So the pain point that I'm addressing there with those business owners and coaches and everything is that you save time. We're buying back that time. We're buying back you doing redundant tasks for your clients, doing additional reporting. This allows you to just point them in the direction of a tool that will help them answer those questions that their clients may have.
fantastic. Okay, and so so for the everyday small business person, uh, what would you say is your value proposition for them?
So for them, it is understanding is the pain point for them is that you are spending so much time, and at the end of the day you still don't know where you stand at your business because
Okay.
the numbers can be confusing. um, the numbers don't lie. They tell what has happened, what is happening, and what can happen. And most business owners, small business owners, which is my target
Okay.
audience, are not necessarily well versed in forecasting and seeing what the trend and comparing budgets and actuals and things like that, and then trying to figure out what to do with the information. So
Yeah.
we wanted to develop a tool that makes it really plain and simple for them to understand what's happening and what can happening and where they are every single day in their business when it comes to
Yes.
the financial piece.
Right, that's great. So one of the things that we've noticed with the founders, so and we're on our seventh Black Founders cohort, but that's like we did four big cohorts, so that's 11 cohorts, and we did some more. So we had a lot of cohorts, and what we found is, some founders, they say the small businesses are their customers, but what we find is, if you typically have to identify different customer segments and that. So your sweet spot may be, um, uh, I'm trying to think about restaurants. It may be, you see all these different types of small business. So these are what your customer segments are here, of those different type businesses. Because ultimately, when you get over here, this is your target market, your thing. And so that's kind of why when you talk about small business, but so what you want to do is which small businesses have the most problems that have the most need for, and that's what you're ultimately trying to find. But they also got to be able to afford to pay for the service you're offering, and that's where this viability stress tests come in. And so you see it's in the solution block.
Yeah, definitely. And that has been,
yeah, price. This is your pricing block. So I noticed on
yeah,
your
because
website.
when you say small businesses,
Keep going.
no, go right ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So literally, when you
No, I
look at
said,
the
you said you noticed on my website.
yeah, on your website. So your website, you have 4 different pricing models. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
4 different
Yes.
prices of plans. Yeah. Okay. So this would be,
Yeah.
so you take
Yeah.
your most popular plan of one of those plans, and so what's the price that you use for one of your plans?
So are you asking what is the price, or how do we determine
Well,
a
for one of your
price?
plan, or your most popular plan, what is the price?
So the most popular plan is the $49 plan.
Okay,
And
that's
that
good.
is, yeah, because
Okay.
we did build it around the freemium model, where there is a free plan. But the features that you get is not as robust as the $49 plan. And that $49 plan, it gives you more of the AI tool to use, plus it also includes the forecasting and the ability for someone to be able to do comparison through from previous years, which is important to kind of understand where your numbers have been and where you're going, when we utilize forecasting. And I think, in pricing, because we said that $49 is that sweet spot of under 50, it's like,
Mhm.
so what I have found that is right now, that's the most popular. We just launched it a couple of weeks ago, but that
Yeah.
has been the most popular because people do think, okay, well, I get more, but I don't need to go to the 129 because I don't have that many transactions each month.
Yeah.
Because the plans are set up based on how many transactions, which also goes back to a kind of our customer segment, which is what businesses are we targeting and
Mhm.
how many transactions are they doing every single month. So that's how we determine the different pricing plans for those
Gotcha. Yeah.
models.
Fantastic. So when you're doing your viability stress testing, you take the price, that $49 price, and then this block here is your metrics, and the metrics are like your referrals, your churn, your acquisition stuff. Let's see what else is metrics. How fast you want to scale the scale, like 10x or whatever. And so, but the way this step does, so you would take your annual recurring revenue that you want to be at in 3 years, and let's say that's $1 million, and you would plug that into the traction roadmap tool, and then you will plug your pricing in there. You will plug your referral rate is at 5%, or one out of every 10 people gets 1 out of every 10 referrals is a sale, or all that information. Then you plug that into the traction roadmap and tool, and it works backwards to tell you how many people you have to get into your small businesses or bookkeepers you have to get into your sales funnel each month in order for you to grow at that 10x rate and meet that $1 million annual recurring revenue in 3 years. So that one stress test takes less than 5 minutes to do. But Sabrina, the thing that, so this is the thing when you're doing a pitch competition, this is the questions that they're going to get to figure out how viable is your business. So let's say at $50 a month, and you want to make $1 million annual recurring revenue in 3 years, it might say you need to get 100 customers and people in your sales funnel, and you get let's say 10 of them to try it out, and you make one sale. So you see how that sales. That's what the traction roadmap is all about, and you can do that for each of your price, test it for each of your price model. But let's say if you were charging like you're charging $49 a month, and if it said you need to have 1,000 people in your sales funnel every month, you see how much harder it is to market to get 1,000 people to visit your website. Or if it said you need 10,000 people to get to your website, but as your business grows, you need more.
Right.
Yeah, and so that's what that stress test is all about. And when you do it at a 10x rate, it allows you to start off slow, so you can actually learn from the customers that you onboard. And so that's what the purpose of the viability test is. But yeah, but some people, they say, well, I only want to charge $10 a month. But if you want to charge $10 a month, but you want to make $1 million in 3 years recurring revenue, right, you have to have 20,000 people in your sales funnel. So it tells you. You see what I'm saying? That's the value of that test. And the feasibility one is if you're already up and running, so we know your thing is feasible, and that's just based on your cost, your solution, and your unfair advantage, and your marketing channels here. So that's the way that stress testing go. But once you do all this, and if you notice, you started off in here this example with 5, and now you're down to 3, because if it doesn't pass the viability test, you don't take it to the feasibility test. And so right now, you say you're marketing to 3 different customer segments right now. And so, but ultimately, when you want to grow at that 10x rate, you want to find out the best customer segment. That might be restaurants, that might be barbershops. You see what I'm saying? It might be doctors' offices. Yes. Yeah, that's what you're ultimately trying to get to here. And then when you get in this 90-day program, it's actually teaching you how to get people who use your type of product to switch from what they're currently using to what you have. So you learn. It's basically teaching you how to sell what you have, and that's what this pink is all about.
Which is why I'm excited to start the cohort on Monday.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. And I'm glad you realized the value of keeping in the thing, because I can honestly tell you, we deal with a lot of founders that have created great products, but they don't know how to sell them. Yeah. And so, it's a really big mistake that people are making. But if you look at this whole thing, you starting with your big idea, you're going to customer segment, but ultimately to get to that product market fit milestone, you literally only focusing on one customer segment.
Yeah.
You see,
which is what we talked about earlier is because I think sometimes that once you put the product out there, you do have these different pockets of people like, oh, I can use it, and you think you have to start to try to have your product fit their needs. But one thing we could do is spread ourselves too thin in trying to serve so many customers that it dilutes our product itself. And we lose money, we lose time, we lose energy, we lose effort, and the product doesn't become what it is that ultimately it doesn't serve the people who ultimately is your customer.
That's exactly right. And so, so the bottom line, when you're starting out, you don't have the capacity to serve 1,000 customers at once. You see what I'm saying? So
I
because you're
can
trying
believe.
to, well, no, but see, the mistake most people make is that's why that curve that shows the growth rate. That's why, and I'll see, can I find it again? I'll show you this curve one more time so to help people understand. That's the biggest mistake that you can make starting out, is trying to serve too many customers at once.
Yeah.
But most people are excited about making the money, but if you can't learn from the customers, you're literally making a mistake, because if something breaks down and you don't know why they start to churn, and you don't know why they're churning, that's
Mm-hmm.
so that's why this curve here, it shows you. That's why it's like this. This is when you look at these lower ends, you're actually learning from those customers how to improve your product. But like let's say if you start off and you're trying to serve based on your staffing right now, and you run into problems with your website, you run into problems with people with challenges and stuff, how are you going to, if you don't have the manpower to serve them, you're making a big mistake.
Yeah,
I'll go back.
And that's how we talked about earlier, when
Yeah.
in growing our business and growing a startup, how yes, there are some similarities there, but then there's also some differences. And it's just like when you're growing, we grew our small business. It's like you can grow so fast and try to serve so many people that you start to lose that service aspect of it, and it hurts your reputation. It's the same way with,
That's exactly right.
with this. Like, you don't want to promise so many things and that you're not capable of delivering, either because you're stretched too thin, or your product doesn't deliver what's promised, or you have bug issues and things like that. So yeah, I mean, which is why, again, I'm super excited about Monday, so that we can really start to drill down and really streamline where we are now. Yes, we have a great product, I believe, right now, but it can be better. It will be better. But how do we really start to accelerate the growth, but in a way that's responsible?
That's the right idea. Yep. And so what happens is, Sabrina, when you use this approach, that what you learn from those customers is your actually becomes your unfair advantage, or
Mm-hmm.
you see what I'm saying? Because you have the
Mm-hmm.
insights, because you're dealing directly with the customers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what the significance is. And I tell the story, so like all these, like these videos, we have a video every week, and sometimes more than one every week. And so we need to edit the videos, and we need for content or whatever. And then when we have our demo days, we try to talk to all the founders and get their feedback and stuff like that. But anyway, so like this one company, P.I.E AI, they launched last fall. And so I saw they had just raised a bunch of millions of dollars. And, so I said, and they do, video editing, and I have a video editor. But what I noticed was when I tried the product, it suggested some prompts I could do for the videos. So it changed my mindset. So like it would, you upload the video, and then it would suggest 10 prompts to get information out of the video. And so I
Oh,
said,
wow.
wow.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was a different way to think about things. And then last fall, one of our sponsors, they said they wanted some feedback from the participants. They, what some of the participants have to say. So during the demo day, we have Lloyd Jr. has all the founders come on and tell about their experience. because you participated in that before. And so so I took that 15-minute video and put it up in Edit AI, and then I'm telling you all this for a reason. It actually I could prompt it and say, well, what did Sabrina has to say about the experience, and it would go find every time you talk and stitch that into one video clip. And so, and then I could send that to the sponsors, that this is what Sabrina had to say about her experience. But the reason why I'm telling you about it, what was unique about that experience with that software, so I started using it, and then the founder said, let's jump on a Zoom call, and so you can tell me about your experience. And so I told him what issues I had with it when I was using it, and he said, okay. And then the next day he sent me an email, we fixed it. You see what I'm saying? But what if you had what if you had 100 people that had a problem? How are you going to respond to 100 people? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And so it was a high touch thing.
Yeah.
By me, participating at that stage, when they finally launched the product, openly to everybody and got their pricing model, because I could use it free all the way to the end of the year. And then when they got their pricing model, but they were like selling it for $100 a month for one of the tiers, but they literally gave me a whole year subscription for like $250.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and that's the way. Yeah, because I mean, we're talking about, of course, we built P.I.E, but even pre-launching or pre-building the MVP, you get who you think your customers are, you talk to them, really find out what their pain points are, because sometimes you can start building things that no one wants. So like some of my testers were CPAs, accountants, bookkeepers, business owners, things like that. So I had product managers look at it just for the user experience and the user interface, just to and of course there's still constant things, and being someone who has worked in a software company before, there's always, it's an ongoing thing. I think that sometimes people forget that, like, oh, you think you build it and that's just it. Well, no, not necessarily. There's going to be enhancements. Technology is going to change. Something's going to break. I mean, I was doing something in the system today and it came up that there was a bug, but it was easily fixed really quickly. But just understanding those kind of things before the product is built, during the build of the product, and then after the fact, because there are more enhancements, more things that I want to do with P.I.E. This is not the end product. But it does help to get that and to be accessible to people early on, so that you can really, like you said, if I had 1,000 people on the platform, I can't answer questions for every single person every single day. So it's important to grow at a smart rate, at a good rate, but also being able to take care of the customers that's there at the beginning, because they're the ones that's really going to help you build a product out to be something that's usable for more people.
That's really fantastic. What you were talking about, it reminded me of something in the startup science program. So at this stage one in the vision thing, so it says to do three things. One is get you a product advisory board, and sounds like you did have some type of product advisory board. So like the people who understand you're going to be using your product or know, so that's a product advisory board. So and then it also said get a industry advisory board. So it seems like you dealt with people in the financial accounting industry, right?
Right, exactly. Oh yeah, totally. Because that's not. I mean, I took some QuickBooks courses, but I'm not a financial professional.
Yeah. And so, and then there was one other advisory board. My mind is drawing a blank now, but you see how this idea, then I guess, I think I don't want to say the wrong name, but you basically have these 3 advisory board that understands your industry, your customer, and then just your business, I guess, but they don't call it a business advisory board. But that's the way you ensure that you're getting off to a good start. And so that's kind of like an operational thing that you should do. And so that's what the beauty. And the other thing it says in this stage, if who's the most likely company that's going to buy you out?
Mhm.
Is it Tory going to buy you out? You see what I'm saying?
Right,
So
exactly.
yeah, and that's what it says. Pick a company that's going to buy you out, and then also it says pick a company to follow. So if there's another company that's doing something similar to yours that maybe down here in the growth stage or something here, you want to follow them so you don't have to reinvent the wheel as you go through all these stages. You see how
Yep,
these little simple
exactly.
strategies
Yeah.
can like help you move forward. So I'm glad you mentioned what you did there, because a lot of these things are, people don't realize that you can do at the early stage that really make a big difference. And because founders, including
And
myself,
I think
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, and that's why I think it's so important about the cohorts and being in it at various times. I think the next one I think this will be like my 4th time in a cohort. Is
Yeah,
that when you're building, it's like you may not be at that stage yet where you're ready to build, but as you are starting to get to that place, then you start to remember all the steps, because the steps don't change. I mean, the steps
no,
are the step. And
yeah,
if you want to build something if you want to build something that's valuable, then you just follow the steps. And
right,
that's why it's so I remember, well, the video kind of always is saying the get started video with what is it, Cash or Ash or something like that, where
yeah,
it talks about the person that get spent all the time, this energy and money to build something, and then had no market to build it to, whereas the
yeah,
person that went was like, hey, what do you need, and start building around that, and how that just saves a lot of time and energy and money and everything. But I think that, and which is why, again, and not like I'm trying to get people to sign up, but I think that anyone that's out there listening who does have an idea, they should sign up for at least a 30-day cohort and start to get an idea of what it's like to just kind of start and where you think your idea can go. Because right now I'm in a place where it's like, okay, now how do I start to really sell and market to that core customer base, and improve the product. And like I said, I'm excited. I feel like over the next 30 days, it's going to really help me to solidify and where I am in terms of my customers, the marketing, and starting to grow the platform more.
yeah, yeah. That's neat. For that, but like, and so you, to me, you learn more by you know um, looking at it several times, because going through it several times, because you catch things that you miss, and now you're further along, so now it's going to make more sense and be more clearer to you as you're going on. But Ash literally says, that all you want to use this platform for is to quickly stress test your idea,
Mm-hmm.
because typically your first idea is not going to be your best idea. And I remember when you first got involved, we were suggesting that you do this AI app for your um, for doing estimates automatically by looking at the pictures and stuff, that for your hauling business. And so that uh, so that was the first idea, and so this is a different idea. So you may have to go to 3 or 4 ideas before you actually get one that actually gets you to that product market fit. if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense to
Yeah, totally. I mean, absolutely.
yeah. And so that's what the Lean Stack platform is all about, is being able to stress test
Yeah, because
your.
my first,
Looks like you're freezing
I
up
think
a
we might
little
have
bit.
some internet issues again.
Yeah, yeah. So there, we'll get through it. I see. Uh, let's see. Uh, Charlene is on. She actually went through the 30-day and the 90-day program with Blacks in Technology, and she found out with the one idea she had, that she, after going through the 90 days, she found out that she should pivot to another idea. So that's what the program is all about, is to help you quickly stress test your business idea, so you can actually get to that one that actually really works. So let's help people understand. Say I'm a small business, and so so kind of, let's get to the point of your kind of value proposition again, so people really understand the reason why you built this particular application, and just sort of help us with that.
So Pi was built because we focused too much on revenue and not on how much profit we're keeping. We don't take into account all the expenses that we have to take care of in our business. And so if you don't know what you need to spend in order to be profitable, your business is going to fail. So quit focusing on just revenue and sales and focus on what it actually takes in order for you to get out of your business what you want. And a lot of times we want financial freedom, but we go into it blindly on the financial side of it and wonder why we're kind of churning our wheels every single month, because the money's coming, the money's going out as fast as it's coming in. So Pi was built in order to make your finances predictable, so that you can be profitable.
Yeah, and sort of what I heard you say in the past too. At any given day, you want to know what your cash flow is, or be able to predict what your cash flow is going to be. And so,
Exactly.
how does Pi help you with that?
So we start by first establishing budgets for everything.
Okay.
And with that, when we establish the budget, then on a day-to-day basis, we're comparing your budget against what you're actually spending. And so that we can quickly say, hey, you are over budget on this particular expense, and you can see that. Because more times than not, we wait until those reports that our bookkeepers provide to us at the end of the month or every other month. And a lot of times we look at those reports after it's all said and done, and we're like, we're in the red. We had no idea we were spending as much as we were, because we wasn't tracking it on a consistent basis. We're waiting for a report, and a lot of times when that report comes, it's too late to fix the problem. So Pi allows you to be more proactive when it comes to your expenses, when it comes to your revenue, so that you can realize the profit margins that you wanted from the beginning. It's all about tracking and knowing where you are and fixing it as quickly as possible, because what happens is we become more reactive than proactive when it comes to our finances. And then what happens after that is that the problem becomes so big, we're in the hole so far, that we start to ignore it and think that the problem is just going to go away. So Pi is here to be non-judgmental, to make it easy for you to know exactly where you are at any given moment in your business, so that you can course correct.
Gotcha. And the sooner you know, the better off you're going to be, because the problem could be getting worse and you don't even know that it's actually getting worse.
Yeah, like I said at the beginning, we have 37% of business owners, small business owners, who don't track anything. Only thing they're doing is making money and not necessarily understanding all the financial aspect. And one of the biggest things is taxes. Some people wait until, after the beginning of the year to understand, like, oh, what do I need to pay in taxes? Whereas Pi helps you to be able to track that all year long, to say, okay, are you making enough money to even cover the taxes based on what you want your revenue to be? Are you making enough money to pay yourself? Are you making enough money to cover your payroll, to cover your utilities, your rent, your insurance, your subscriptions, all the stuff? Sometimes the biggest leak in our business is subscriptions. We sign up for something and we forget to cancel it. And month after month after month after month, we are paying for services that we don't need. Pricing goes up, especially if you're running like a restaurant or anything where you're buying products. If you're not tracking, if your vendor is increasing costs and you're increasing your cost as well, then you're shrinking your profit margin because your supply costs are going up. So Pi makes it so that it tracks those things for you. Once your accounts are set up, it tracks it for you and it provides you the insight immediately when things are out of whack or off track from where you want to be, what those goals are that you set.
Gotcha. That's pretty amazing. That that you can kind of get that information. So, like, I guess from audience, if you got any questions for Sabrina, please put them in the chat. But I think Sabrina, when you have a product or service, so are you trying to raise any funds or get any particular kind of help?
Currently, I'm not actively doing it. And just from the simple fact in that I think right now is I'm in the proof of concept, getting people on board, showing that there's the need, and then providing and then allowing those opportunities to come. So Charlene asks, is QuickBooks a competitor? I would say this is a conduit for QuickBooks. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a competitor. What I will say is that QuickBooks was built for accounting professionals. That's why even if you have a QuickBooks account, once you get your report at the end of the month from your bookkeeper, they're still having to explain some of the jargon, some of the information that's in there. So what we have done is allow that data. We have taken that data that you may have in your QuickBooks system and made it so that it's digestible for any small business owner. So you know exactly where. So actually, we have integrated with QuickBooks in a way that your information can flow in directly to the Pi system, and it's uploaded, and then our algorithms and our AI is able to tell you, oh, you're spending more here, or you're spending less here, or your revenue is not on track to where you need to be in order to get to the profit margin you need to be. So we have integrated with the QuickBooks system where your information can flow directly into Pi, and therefore it can provide you with the actionable insights that you need in order to be proactive on your finances.
Yeah, that's a great question. We appreciate those. So anybody else have any questions out there? And so, like, this is one, I think I want to show something just to kind of help to see how your platform or your applications can actually help people out here. So let me see. I'll try this. Let's see. I'm gonna go. I want to show that traction
Yeah, one of
roadmap
the
to
things
you.
in building the platform.
Go ahead.
Yeah, one of the things in building the platform, I wanted to make sure that, you don't need a spreadsheet. You don't need to be Excel savvy. Only thing that you need to know is, like, where do I want to be? And once you set up your budgets, the system I feel like it is designed so that it speaks plain English to you. And honestly, if anybody has any questions, they want a demo, we have some videos out there that shows how the system works. Please reach out to me directly. I'll put my information in here, but reach out to me directly, and I am so happy to sit down and give you a demo and walk through it with you.
Target audience are early adopters.
So my target audience is mainly for small business owner. I like to think of like myself, who's running maybe like a service-based business, a restaurant, a food truck, a cleaning business, something where you're doing business almost on a day-to-day basis. And sometimes it's just kind of hard to keep up with things on when you're having so many transactions, and you're moving so fast, you're taking care of customers. Businesses that may either be running their business by themselves or with a small team. A lot of times they're doing maybe around ten to $30,000 a month. If you're doing less than that, that's perfectly fine as well. But those are the business model. That's the target audience for me right now. And a lot of times those businesses just don't have the bandwidth in order to track information on a day-to-day basis and in order to try to figure out what's in QuickBooks.
They're probably too busy running their business to kind of do all that, keep track of all that stuff. But let me show you this real quick. So you said your popular plan was like $49 a month, and you're selling a direct model to a business. So we'll just choose that real quick. And then, and the reason why I'm showing you this, you talked about budget, and you also talked about how profitable a business is. And so the question is, like that 3-year goal you want to have for the annual recurring revenue. Let's just choose $1 million as an example. And the neat thing about this traction roadmap tool, you can run this as many times as you want to. It doesn't cost any extra. It doesn't cost you anything. And so you said, we'll just go ahead and you said 49. We'll put it here, $49 a month. And that's the revenue we'll get from each customer that does your subscription. But if your plan end up being $100 a month, you could actually put that in there. So this is just a test to see if your business, your pricing model is viable. So we put that in there. Yeah, and then so like this is your retention, and so churn, and so the model only does 3 years. So we'll just do 2 years just so it'll show some churn. And then let's say the next what do you call it, metric. And so this is your acquisition metric. It's basically 10%. 10% of the people that visit your website will do a trial, and then this conversion is 10% of the people who do a trial, they will end up buying. That's what this metric is. So we're almost there. Let's see what the next thing is. So the referrals. So we can say like probably 1 out of every 10 customers will probably referrals will buy. I think that's reasonable. Or you can actually leave it at 0. So that's basically 10%. And then the growth rate, and this is how you build a scalable business model by setting this thing. So you want to grow at a 10x rate to meet that $1 million goal in three years. And so, and this is going to build this traction roadmap. First thing it shows you is, so based on your minimum success criteria, 3 years, I want to make $1 million per year. My pricing models is $49 a month. My lifetime of the customer lifetime is 2 years. And so like if you multiply each year's 12 months, 12 in 2 years, that's 24 months times 5. The lifetime value of your customer is basically 24 times this $49. So you already got, you see what I'm saying? What's the lifetime value of your customer? Okay. And so you kind of get an idea about that. Acquisition rate, referral rate, and it says you need a little over 1,000 visitors every day to your site in 3 years just to maintain this 1,700 customers are that $1 million annual recurring revenue. And then you look at this traction roadmap thing here, and I'm getting to this for a reason, because you said something about a budget. So, but you got a budget, but you talked about profit, and so so this graph right here is kind of showing you your traction as you go through these different stages. But the thing that I like the most about this particular chart, it's telling you month by month what do you have to do. And I didn't reset the date for this particular thing, the start date. I apologize for that. So it's showing some last year's stuff. But the deal is, so it's saying you start off in May, you're getting you have to get 100 visitors, 10 of them will sign up for a trial, and one will purchase. So for 3 years, it's showing you what you have to do each month. So in this one is saying August the 26th, you have to get, in 1 month, you have to get this many people to visit your website in order to get this many
100.
So to sign up, so you can see it's telling you how much money you're going to make. But then at the 3-year period for that annual recurring revenue, it's saying each month you got to get 32,000 visitors to your website, or 1,000 visitors per day, in order to get $1 million. But at least it tells you what you have to do to grow at that 10x rate. So you see how it can make sense to you. If a person really wants to make a certain amount, they can get a plan, a roadmap to do it. And what this tool does, and it literally helps you figure that out in just a matter of minutes. If you were charging $100, it would, it will require you to get less people into your sales funnel. And so that's why I wanted to show that tool, because it's a really easy tool for people to use. And then this is what let's see. Oh, I just reset the whole thing, but I should have said edit. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of show how this tool can help you figure out stuff. I hope that was helpful to
No, it is totally helpful, because, and also that's like kind of one of, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Oh, somebody.
No, I was saying that's kind of also kind of the premise that we built. Oh yeah, she was doing it. She was doing it alongside with you, looks like.
Okay, good, fantastic. I missed all that. Okay, that's
great.
And
honestly, that's one of the ways that when I built out P.I.E is how do you back into what your ultimate goal is? Like, if you want to get $1 million a year in revenue, okay, so what does that look like in terms of how much are you going to keep? What are we budgeting for all your expenses? Because I don't think people sometimes realize, like, all the stuff that goes into it. It's like, I just set this goal, $15,000 a month. But if you don't know that your expenses are $14,000 a month, what's the good if the 15,000? So that's one of the things that we want to do. Sort of what you was talking about is, how do you back up? What does this look like for you in terms of your day to day, your month to month? What does that look like for you as a business owner, right? Because I think that's left out of the conversation when we talk about when we're establishing businesses. Like, for us, we had no idea what we thought we was going to make in 1 year. Our first year in business, we did that within 5 months. And you would think, oh, great, you was rolling in the dough, but we were still cash poor because we had no idea. We wasn't tracking anything. We was just making money and spending money and not really understanding the whole financial piece of running a business and what it means to track and to be on. And what I found is that so many things are so manual now.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, once you a lot of times you're working in your business, at the end of the day you don't want to sit down and spend hours poring over the numbers and trying to figure it out. So my goal with Pi is that at the end of the day a business owner can open up their dashboard, and within 5 to 10 minutes they know exactly what the health of their business is. They know where money is going, what's what what's on track, what may be off track, what actions they can take, um, and where they stand in terms of their goals,
Yeah.
and give them a tool that's going to help them.
Fantastic. And so I like that because you need to me, you need to know how you're tracking towards your goal. And so it would be, to
Mhm.
sound like it'd be nice if so, if in your tool, it says where if you want to reach this goal in 3 years that you're trying to get to, you need to give some recommend what you need to do. You need to, uh, get more customers get more customers into the sales funnel, or you need to you spending too much money here, or whatever. And so to me, what you're doing aligns with, what a business or startup needs to understand.
Right, and I'm glad you said that because we actually do have that in Pi. It's called the financial sneak peek, and if
Mhm.
you sign up for one of the paid plans, you get that, and you can take a sneak peek into what your profits, your expenses, your revenue, and forecast that over 1 to 12 months. And the system, the AI system we built in there, help provides you with that information. Oh,
That's
this is
fantastic.
what this is where you are. And over that time, yeah. So that's actually in there. So check it out.
But see,
So it's called the financial sneak peek.
yeah. So Sabrina, this is what I want to tell you. So like, and um, so I asked you about and we're gonna get off here. I apologize for going a little long here, but what I see, like, so with your thing, with your company. So when you think about the goal you have, and getting that insight whether you're on track to make that goal. And so there's some things you might need to do. You might need to increase your marketing budget in order to scale a little faster. You see what I'm saying? But maybe you don't have the money right now to increase your marketing budget. So maybe you want to enter a pitch competition, to get some more funding to increase your marketing budget. Or maybe you need to, if you were bringing on a salesperson, maybe that salesperson you may need, in order to see more people, maybe you may have to increase your price so you can get a salesperson or commission. So, but
Mhm.
that's what I'm saying is, so you're trying to get that right mix of things to actually know what it, so you can kind of grow your business. And so that's the point I want to make. And so this is the reason why I'm saying this. So you being able to articulate your business in a pitch, or tell it in a story fashion, so you can win the pitch contest to get that money that you need to increase your marketing budget, or to bring somebody on to help you sell it. And that's what I'm saying is, so you got what is needed. So what I'm trying to say, it's just learning that pitch that actually tells the story of what you're doing, and telling it clearly and concisely. And that's the thing that can unlock some more resources to help you grow your business. You
Yeah,
see what I'm
that's
saying?
which is
So it's just putting
oh no,
everything we
I
talked
totally
about. Yeah.
I know I need your help. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. And so
no,
it's
and I
literally,
yeah.
yeah, it's telling a story. And so, like, in the business model story pitch, to get this help you need, um, all those three tests you did, like the desirability, viability, and feasibility, you're literally telling that story, but you're also telling the story, from, why you're building this product and how big the problem is. And so you got to tell it in a story format, and say what's the beauty of the story format. We know that we have the template for the story format, but what we need is your personal input in there and creating that pitch. So when you fill out an application for a pitch competition, or you fill out an application for a program that's going to give you money and help you connect with these target market customers, that's what you got to work on. And so that, but yeah, so I think that's the thing, because you got the product, and now you got to learn how to pitch it to get more help to grow that business. And then in the 90-day, what you got to do is you got to learn how to get people to switch from whatever they're doing, even if it's nothing, to using your product. Okay, and I'll leave it at that. And so,
Right,
any advice?
exactly.
Yeah, any advice that you want to leave with the founders? So we get up there, we went way over, but I think it's important. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and again, number one, I want to say thank you so much for the opportunity to come on here and talk, and just always being available to whenever I've had questions and all that. And I encourage anyone who has an idea, even if people think it's stupid, to go out there and, number one, reach out to you, reach out to Kakua, join the cohort, but don't let your idea just die because you think that you can't do it. I'm not, me building, and I think one of those things about this tool that we build is that I'm not an accounting person. I'm not a bookkeeper. And it's like, how do you think you're going to solve that problem? So, we kind of get imposter syndrome. But if it truly is a problem that you can solve for someone, I would say keep going. Don't let doubt, creep in and stop you. And also connect with people that is either going to help you see if your idea is viable, if you need to pivot, or or go on to something else. But at the end of the day, don't give up on yourself. And if nothing ever comes of it, at least you did try. And I think that's so important when it comes to startups. Because everything was a startup at some point, and somebody thought it was stupid or crazy or whatever, until millions of people were using it, and now it's the best thing ever.
Gotcha. Yeah, so fantastic. So next week, so this is going to be interesting next week. So we have a founder that's won every pitch competition she entered. So she's going to be the guest next week. So if you want to learn the secret to pitching, you need to be here next week. Can you imagine that, Sabrina?
I cannot. I mean, I can, but I'm very intrigued. That's amazing.
Okay, so tune in.
I'm so excited.
Tune in next week, and yeah, so hang on just for a minute. We're going to say bye-bye to everyone. We thank you all for hanging in there, listening. I appreciate all the questions.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, and we'll see you all next week.